The Bold and the Beautiful. Carter Walton and Daphne Rose's love story takes a dangerous turn. Secrets, lies, and a past that won't stay buried. Carter Walton is finally letting himself have hope again in The Bold and the Beautiful. After years of heartbreak, betrayal, and broken promises, he's finding comfort, and maybe even love, in the arms of Daphne Rose. But this being Los Angeles, romance is never simple. Daphne's mysterious past is creeping into the present, threatening to shatter everything Carter has just begun to rebuild. And this time, the fallout could be worse than anything he's faced before. A fresh start turns complicated. For Carter Walton, Lawrence St. Victor, happiness has always been fleeting. Every time he's dared to believe in love, it slipped through his fingers, usually because of lies, emotional unavailability, or betrayal. After Hope Logan's, Annika Noel, engagement to Liam Spencer, Scott Clifton, Carter is once again left picking up the pieces of a heart he didn't think he'd have to mend again. Enter Daphne Rose Linnea Grace, the elegant perfumer from Paris, with an enigmatic charm and a quiet intensity that immediately drew him in. She appeared at exactly the right moment, supportive, grounded, and surprisingly understanding of his pain. She made him laugh when he didn't think he could, listened when everyone else judged him, and saw through the walls he'd built after years of romantic failure. But the thing about perfect timing in soap operas is that it's rarely an accident. The truth about Daphne's arrival. Fans already know that Daphne didn't simply wander into Carter's orbit by chance. Steffi Forrester, Jacqueline McInnes Wood, had a hidden agenda when she brought Daphne to Los Angeles. Her mission? Seduce Carter Walton and drive a wedge between him and Hope Logan, ending their alliance that nearly cost Forrester Creations everything. The plan worked. Daphne charmed Carter effortlessly, and over time, real emotions seemed to bloom. Now, she insists her feelings are genuine, and maybe they are. But that doesn't erase how their story began, with manipulation, deception, and strings being pulled behind the scenes. Carter knows betrayal all too well, yet he's still trying to believe that Daphne's intentions have changed. He wants to think this time will be different. The irony is that blind hope might be the very thing that destroys him again. Hope's engagement changes everything. When Hope Logan got re-engaged to Liam, it hit Carter harder than he expected. Even though he'd tried to move on, part of him still believed Hope might come back around. Maybe this time choosing him instead of the safe, familiar love she's always had with Liam. Instead, Carter was left watching her commit to another man yet again. That heartbreak cracked open something raw inside him, forcing him to face the truth about his patterns. And in that moment of emotional vulnerability, Daphne became the person who grounded him. Spoilers for late October hint that Carter and Daphne's conversation about Hope's engagement will change everything. The talk will get real, no more pretending it's casual or undefined. They'll finally admit that something deeper has developed between them. But even as they open their hearts to each other, the ground beneath them is already shifting. Carter's unlucky pattern in love. It's impossible to talk about Carter without acknowledging his history of heartbreak. This man has fallen for almost every woman in Los Angeles, and every single one has left him scarred. Maya Avant still loved Rick Forrester, as Zoe Buckingham flirted with Zen days before the wedding. Quinn Fuller used Zen to escape her marriage, then immediately returned to Eric as soon as he was willing to take her back. Paris Buckingham got left at the altar when Carter realized his heart wasn't in it. Katie Logan couldn't move past friendship. Hope Logan dumped him once loyalty to Forrester Creations clashed with their takeover plans. Every relationship ended the same way, with Carter giving too much, too soon, and being left empty-handed. He's a man who loves deeply, but not wisely. Now, Daphne has stepped into that pattern. A woman with a beautiful face and a mysterious soul who seems too good to be true. And that's precisely why fans are worried. The shadow of Daphne's past. The whispers are getting louder. Someone from Daphne's past in Paris is headed to Los Angeles. The question isn't if they'll show up, but who they are and what they know. We know almost nothing about Daphne's life before she arrived. She's a perfumer, supposedly successful, and she talks about Paris like someone who left something behind. But there are glaring holes in her story. No family, no exes, no professional rivals, and no mention of her early career. It's as if her life began the moment she entered Carter's world. Isn't that kind of clean slate unusual for a soap? It always hides a mess. So, who could this mystery figure be? Possibility number 1, the ex-lover or secret husband, a former lover, or even a husband coming to reclaim what's his is a classic, bold, and beautiful twist. Maybe Daphne left someone behind, promising to return and never did. Maybe there's unfinished business, a betrayal, or even a legal bond that ties them together. If this man still loves her, Carter's fragile heart could be collateral damage. Possibility number 2, the business betrayal. Daphne's career as a perfumer is lucrative, but what if it's built on lies? If she stole fragrance formulas, forged credentials, or took credit for someone else's work, that secret could ruin not just her reputation, but Forrester creations too. As COO, Carter would be forced to choose between love and duty once again. Possibility number 3, the puppet master twist. What if Steffi wasn't the only one pulling strings? There could be someone else, someone with their agenda, who sent Daphne to LA with motives she hasn't revealed. Maybe she's still being manipulated, trapped in a scheme even she can't control. That kind of layered deception would destroy the fragile trust Carter has in her. Did they already cross the line? There's a theory floating among fans that Carter and Daphne already slept together off-screen. The evidence? There appears to be an unusual pause in the timeline. Carter disappeared from the canvas for a few days after breaking things off with Hope. When he returned, he seemed different, distracted, conflicted. Soap writers love using those unseen moments to hide a secret tryst that later comes back to haunt the characters. If Carter and Daphne already crossed that line, there could be more fallout than anyone realizes, especially if a pregnancy is involved. Imagine the chaos if Daphne becomes pregnant just as her past comes back to expose her lies. That would trap Carter emotionally and morally, forcing him to navigate love, betrayal, and responsibility all at once. And what if the baby's paternity ends up in question because of her past? That's peak sweeps material. Carter's greatest fear returns. Underneath all of Carter's heartbreak is a deep, private wound. The fear that no one will ever love him for who he is. Every betrayal he's faced has reinforced that belief, that he's only wanted for what he offers, not who he is. Daphne's deception cuts right into that wound. Even if her feelings have become real, she still entered his life under false pretenses. And when this new person from her past arrives, it'll reopen every scar he thought had healed. By early 2026, Carter might once again find himself standing in the ruins of another love story, wondering how he keeps ending up here. The road ahead, passion meets pain. Spoilers suggest that Carter and Daphne will have their romantic turning point soon. A confession of love, maybe even a kiss that seals their bond. For a brief time, it'll feel like he's finally found peace. Then the storm will hit. The arrival of the figure from Daphne's past will trigger a chain reaction. Secrets exposed, loyalties tested, and hearts broken. Carter's trust will crumble. Daphne's lies will unravel, and their picture-perfect romance will dissolve into yet another cautionary tale about love on the bold and the beautiful. Whether Daphne is a manipulator, a victim of her own secrets, or a woman just trying to outrun her past, one thing's certain: her story is far from over. And for Carter Walton, the price of loving her might once again be his heart.